The fire was already burning when Daniel Carter walked into the office. He stopped at the doorway, staring at the flames rising from the metal trash bin near the desk. Inside were years of his work, private documents, and the only copies of records that could change the future of hundreds of employees. But the person standing beside the fire didn't look worried. She looked satisfied. "Those papers were useless anyway," she said calmly. Daniel looked at her in disbelief. "Do you even know what you just destroyed?" The woman crossed her arms. "I know exactly what I destroyed." What she didn't know was that the quiet man standing in front of her was not just another employee. He was the owner of the company, and the documents she burned were about to reveal the biggest decision of his career. But before that moment, Daniel Carter was simply a father trying to survive. 5 years earlier, Daniel's life had completely changed. His wife, Emily, had passed away after a long illness, leaving him alone with 2 children, 8-year-old Lily and 5-year-old Noah. Daniel never imagined raising children by himself. He had once been a normal husband and father who came home every evening to help with homework, cook dinner with Emily, and planned simple family vacations. After losing her, every day became a challenge. Mornings were the hardest. Daniel would wake up before sunrise, prepare breakfast, pack lunchboxes, wake up the children, and make sure they were ready for school. Sometimes Lily would quietly ask, "Dad, do you miss Mom?" Daniel would smile, even when his heart hurt. "Every day, sweetheart." "Then why don't you cry?" Daniel would look at her and say, "Because I need to be strong for you and Noah." But the truth was, Daniel cried many nights after his children fell asleep. Was not only grieving the loss of his wife, he was also afraid that he would not be enough, afraid that his children would grow up missing the love and care they deserved to support his family. Daniel worked long hours managing a small business investment company that he had built years before. However, after Emily's death, he stepped away from the public side of the company. He didn't want attention. He didn't want people treating him differently because of his position. He wanted to be judged by his actions, not his title. So he hired professional managers and worked quietly behind the scenes at home. He was just Dad. At work, most people knew him only as Daniel, a simple consultant who occasionally visited the office. Only a few trusted people knew the truth. One of those people was Sarah, the company's operations director. Sarah told him one afternoon, "You can't hide forever. The company needs you." Daniel looked at the photos of Lily and Noah on his desk. "I know, but my children need me too." Sarah understood. Daniel had built his success, but his greatest responsibility was raising his children. Everything was balanced until a new manager arrived at the company. Her name was Victoria Hayes. Victoria was intelligent, confident, and ambitious. She quickly impressed the board members with her strong personality and expensive ideas. Within weeks, she started changing company policies. She removed experienced employees, ignored long-term plans, and focused only on quick profits. Many workers became uncomfortable, but Victoria didn't care. She believed power belonged to those who controlled the room. One day, she discovered a locked cabinet in Daniel's private office. Inside were financial reports, company history files, and plans for a major employee support program Daniel wanted to launch. The program would provide better benefits, education support, and emergency assistance for employees, families. Victoria saw the documents differently. She believed the plan would reduce profits. "These papers are the reason this company is wasting money," she said. Sarah tried to stop her. "You don't understand what these documents represent." Victoria laughed. "I understand numbers. That's all that matters." She decided to destroy the documents before Daniel could present them to the board. She thought Daniel was just a quiet consultant. She thought nobody important would challenge her. She had no idea that the man she ignored was the person who owned everything. And when Daniel walked into that office and saw the flames, he realized someone had crossed a line. Not because they damaged his business, but because they showed no respect for the people who depended on it. The next morning, Daniel sat silently at his kitchen table. Lily was eating breakfast while Noah struggled to put on his shoes. Normally, Daniel would laugh and help him. But today, his mind was somewhere else. Daniel looked up. "Yes, Lily, you look sad." Daniel forced a smile. "I'm just thinking about work." Lily looked at him carefully. "Mom always said work is important, but family is more important." Those words stayed with Daniel. Emily had always reminded him that success meant nothing if you lost your kindness. At that moment, Daniel made a decision. He would not react with anger. He would handle the situation the right way. When he arrived at the office, everyone was already talking about what happened. Employees whispered in the hallways. Some were afraid, others were disappointed. Sarah approached him. "Daniel, we need to tell the board what happened." Daniel nodded. "No, Victoria thinks she has control." Daniel looked through the office windows. "She has control only because people allowed her to believe she does." The board meeting was scheduled for the afternoon. Before it started, Victoria walked into Daniel's office. She looked confident. "You finally came to complain about those old documents." Daniel looked at her. "Do you understand what you destroyed?" Victoria smiled. Some outdated files. Daniel opened a folder on his desk. No, those documents contained the final proposal for our employee support program. Shrugged, then make a new one. Daniel remained calm. That proposal was built from years of research and employee feedback. It represented promises we made to thousands of families. Victoria leaned closer. You were being emotional. Daniel looked at her. Double quotes, yes, because, unlike you, I remember that behind every number is a person. For the first time, Victoria looked uncomfortable, but she quickly recovered. You are not my boss. The room became silent. Daniel looked at her for a moment, then he slowly placed a document on the table. Actually, I am. Victoria froze. What? Daniel pushed the document toward her. It was the company ownership certificate. Her expression changed instantly. Yes, Daniel said quietly. I am the founder and owner of this company. Victoria stepped back. That everyone thought you were just a consultant. Daniel nodded. That was the point. He never wanted people to respect him because of his position. He wanted them to respect the work. The board meeting began shortly after. Victoria tried to explain her actions. She said she believed she was protecting the company, but one by one, employees shared what had happened since she arrived. A manager explained how she ignored staff concerns. A worker explained how she removed programs that helped families. Then Sarah presented the evidence, the destruction of the documents, the unauthorized decision, an attempt to hide the truth. Victoria finally understood that she had not destroyed papers. She had destroyed trust. The board decided to remove her from her position. But Daniel did not celebrate. He simply returned to his office and sat quietly. Sarah walked in. You won. Daniel shook his head. No. She looked surprised. I protected the company. That's different. That evening, Daniel returned home later than usual. When he opened the door, Lily and Noah ran toward him. Dad. He hugged them tightly, but Lily noticed something. You still look sad. Daniel sat beside them. Sometimes doing the right thing is difficult. Did you fix the problem? Daniel smiled. Yes. Then why are you sad? Daniel looked at his children. Because people can forget that success is not about being better than others. It is about helping others become better too. That night, after his children went to sleep, Daniel looked at an old photo of Emily. He whispered, I hope I'm still teaching them the right lessons. Then he made one final decision. He would not let one person's mistake change the heart of the company. The following week, Daniel called a company-wide meeting. Everyone expected a strict announcement. They expected punishment instead. Daniel walked onto the stage and spoke honestly. I know many of you were disappointed and afraid, but today is not about one person's mistake. It is about remembering who we are. The room was silent. Daniel continued. A company is not built by buildings, money, or documents. It is built by people. Then he announced that the employee support program would continue. In fact, he expanded it. Families would receive more assistance. Employees would have more opportunities for training. And every department would have a voice in future decisions. People applauded not because Daniel was the owner, but because they trusted him. Months passed. The company became stronger. Employees worked with more confidence because they knew their voices mattered at home. Daniel also changed. He started spending more time with Lily and Noah. He attended school events. He cooked dinner more often. He stopped believing that being a good father meant being perfect. He learned that being present mattered more. One evening, Lily came home with a school project. The assignment was simple. Write about someone you admire. Daniel expected her to write about a famous person instead. She handed him the paper. The title said, My Hero. Daniel began reading. My dad is my hero because he teaches me that being strong does not mean never feeling sad. It means continuing even when life is difficult. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He hugged his daughter. You wrote this? She nodded. Because it's true. That moment reminded Daniel that all the sacrifices had been worth it. The late nights, the difficult mornings, the moments when he questioned himself. Everything was worth it. Years later, people would remember Daniel Carter as a successful businessman. His children would remember something more important. That they would remember a father who chose kindness over revenge. A father who showed them that power is not about controlling people, that is about protecting them. A father who lost someone he loved but still found a reason to keep going. Because sometimes the strongest people are not the ones who stand in front of everyone. Sometimes they are the ones who quietly wake up every morning and do what needs to be done for the people they love. The biggest lesson Daniel learned was this: true success is not measured by how much you own. It is measured by how many lives become better because you were there. So let me ask you, if you were in Daniel's position, would you choose revenge against the person who hurt you? Or would you choose to rebuild something bigger than yourself? If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And subscribe for more inspiring life stories.